President Trump says he still hasn't read the Mueller report. Trump tweeting this morning that he has yet to see the full report, even though he has, quote, every right to do so. Meantime, there are reports of growing frustrations from Robert Mueller's team, according to associates, after U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr released a 4-page summary of the 400-page report. Sources familiar with the conversation say investigators felt Barr didn't completely describe President Trump's actions. I'm joined now by Garrett Graff, author of The Threat Matrix, and back with me, former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Good to see you both. So, Shan, you first. Was this bound to happen when the president's appointed attorney general got to craft his own summary?
I don't think it was bound to happen. Some of us feared it would happen. It's particularly troubling now in terms of the reports we're getting that the Mueller people had prepared summaries, and given their work history, and I've been in court with these folks on the other side of the table, they are very, very careful wordsmiths, very meticulous. They would not, in my opinion, have written their summaries and then left it to someone else to have to completely sanitize them. They would have been written with an eye towards presumable public scrutiny.
So then, Shan, what would be the grounds in which the Attorney General says, instead of releasing, if you're going to release summaries, why not, the investigators or the team members' summaries, why would he feel compelled to summarize the summaries?
Well, he has a lot of legal grounds for it. If we're speculating about why what his intentions are, it would seem as though he's trying to slow walk the release of potentially negative details, and also to kind of lay some atmospherics ahead of time. He's spewed out so many exceptions to what should be disclosed, they almost swallow the rule. There's the grand jury scrubbing. There is his feelings about classified sensitive information, and then his sort of catch-all area, which is anything that could potentially be embarrassing. So he's giving himself an enormous amount of discretion on that point.
But Garrett, House Democrats have been arguing, wait a minute, we've handled classified material before responsibly. I mean, this is something they are sworn and expected to do. So why is this occasion any different?
The big exception, obviously, is this grand jury testimony, the so-called 6E exemption, because that's not material that can be released publicly unless a court says so. What is unique and what is puzzling in this is that permission has been requested and given in places like Watergate and Whitewater before. So the fact that Barr is proceeding with trying to redact that information rather than asking for permission from the court for it to be made public, it is potentially troubling and puzzling.
Yeah, so what could be behind that if not to protect or pledge a certain allegiance, Garrett, to the president?
Yeah, and this is where I think we're seeing the split between Barr's team and what Mueller's team thinks that they did, which is you have a criminal component to this and a political component. And on the criminal side, it's entirely possible and even likely that Barr's summary is correct. The president Mueller's team did not find that the president participated in a provable conspiracy with the Russian government, and that he did not get over the criminal line to obstruction. Now, that doesn't necessarily, though, clear the president politically. And it seems like sort of Mueller's team is looking at this and saying, hey, look, guys, it's entirely possible that the president has committed behavior here that we don't think is something that we should be encouraging in our democratic system. That the bar for the president of the United States should not simply be, we're not able to definitively prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he's an active asset of Russian intelligence. That we should hope to hold our president to a higher standard than that.
Shan, at the same time, could it be that the Mueller team did not assess that there was any wrongdoing or criminal activity by way of the president because they knew that there was that DOJ policy that he could not be indicted? However, it was the Mueller team that perhaps thought this report is going to go to Congress. And if there are grounds for impeachment and they want to use this report, then that's their responsibility to do so.
They certainly could have factored that in, and exactly whether or how much they factored that in is, again, something that Attorney General Barr is kind of blurring for us at the moment. To follow up on the point just made about the criminal aspect of it, I think I would make the distinction. We actually don't know on obstruction whether or not it reached the criminal threshold simply because of the one quote that says it does not exonerate, and Barr's conclusion that the special counsel Mueller chose not to give or reach an opinion on that. Now, that is, of course, puzzling, since they seemed okay with reaching an opinion with regard to the conspiracy, i.e., the collusion, and they're saying it doesn't exonerate him. So obviously there's going to be negative information in there, but we don't know if they said, Attorney General, this is above our pay grade, you make the decision. We don't know if they said, we think this does belong in the political scheme. And that's part of the problem here, of course, is those details are so critical, Fred.
All right, Garrett Graff, Shan Wu, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.